as we move through the different cameras all across Africa. And we're starting off in East Africa at Old Donyo with a lovely giraffe. I must say I've been missing Old Donyo. It hasn't been making too much of an appearance lately because there's been so much happening on our other cams, and of course we have the new Victoria Falls cams, and that's been taking up quite a bit of space, especially with the vulture feeding. So it's nice to see Old Donyo for a little bit. And now we're looking at what appears to me like a youngish giraffe bull. Now, of course, that's difficult to tell just from the camera or just by looking through the camera. In person it's much easier, but big mature bulls, they tend to be a lot more stocky. But now we're all the way back down at Olifants, now looking at some Olifants. How lovely. I'm actually quite surprised, everybody, to be honest, because when we were looking at the cameras like we usually do before we start, it was very quiet. And so just off the bat, we had giraffe to start with and some elephants now. So I didn't even tell you about what the Africam show is all about. 45 minutes for us to go through the different cams together, like I said. And because we're live and interactive, for you to send through any questions that you may have, comments, whatever you'd like, send it through. We're the Africam community, so that means we can chat about all things animal, nature, conservation, whatever you like. And of course, if you have any burning questions about these animals, I would love to hear them. Now we moved down pretty quickly to Olifants River from Old Donyo. It was getting a little stuck there, but hopefully we can return back in a little bit. But for now, you know, elephants are one of my favorites to spend time with in the bush, so I'm very happy. Anyway, let us kick off the Africam show with some hellos. Aussie Jan 2 says, good afternoon, coffee time while viewing. Why, of course. Yon Wife, you say hello from the Shetland Islands. Oh, thank you so much for joining us. Bob Kopf, you say good morning, or I guess it's good evening to you. You always love it when I'm your guide. Oh, thank you so much. It's a good afternoon here. It's 3 minutes past 4 in the afternoon. A lovely time. Well, I suppose if you're out in the bush, like these elephants are right now, 4 in the afternoon is not the greatest time. Once 5 comes round, it's a little better. As you can see, all these elephants are pretty much crowding around the shady spots. You can see their ears are getting pretty crazy. They're flapping them about a lot, having trouble cooling down. Oh! Got a baboon making its way down as well. I love to see different species interact. Sometimes they don't interact at all and kind of pretend that neither is there. Like this, the baboon's just sneaked off or snuck off behind the tree there. Now with the elephants, you don't usually see that. Well, maybe on the baboon's part, yeah, you would. They'd try to sneak off as quickly as possible. But elephants almost always react to other animals in their space. But I suppose the little play fight that's going on there was far too important, and that baboon got away. Kauru, you say hi Trishala. Hi Kauru, thank you for joining us. Jan Powers, you say hi everyone. You're excited for another wonderful time learning with Trishala. Thank you everybody. I feel like I've missed you all over the last week. I don't know if maybe the last week seemed long for some reason. Just felt long. And today when I got ready for the Africam show, I thought to myself, did I do last week with all of you? It just felt so long ago. It's strange how time can be perceived differently depending on what we're doing, where we are, things like that. April Owl, you say, good morning all. Coffee, vanilla soy milk by your side with a berry muffin. Very nice. And it's Bob from Kalamazoo. You say, hello, my friend. Happy Tuesday. Thank you so much, Bob. Happy Tuesday to you, too. John from New York. Hi, John. You'd like to know, has there been rain in Kenya? Definitely would have been rain. Kenya or I should say East Africa in general, has an interesting rain pattern. Maybe that's not the right way to put it. Well, here in Southern Africa, or at least the majority of South Africa, we have summer rains, which is the same in Kenya, or a lot of East Africa. There are summer rains, but they also have kind of like a rainy season in between that through the year. There's a small one that kind of happens March, April, May, and then there's another one, like a short burst in October, and then there's the typical summer rains as well. So just looking from the vegetation and the way it's changed over the course of watching the El Doño camp, definitely they would have had quite a bit of rain because things are looking very, very green. Oh, we have no name, but we have someone from Kansas City. Hello, you'd like to know why do the elephants wave their ears like that? And of course you say good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. The waving of the ears is something that can look quite intimidating, right? Now, I remember the first time that I saw an elephant do this, and I was quite little. I must have been under 5, like one of those very, very young. I remember being quite scared. It didn't help that my mother didn't know why they did that, and she said it's when the elephant is angry. Obviously, we know that is not the case. So elephants, being very, very large animals and dense animals, they weigh a lot, and their surface area is not sufficient. Surface area just being the skin on their body is not sufficient to cool down the amount of mass that they are. And so they've got to use some tricks to help with that process. And so when they flap their ears, or I should start off by saying that animals on land pretty much have the same body plan. They're just modified. They're stretched, flattened in some way, but they're just modified body plans of pretty much the same thing. And that goes for birds, it goes for reptiles, it goes for mammals. We all have a similar body plan that's just moved and stretched to adapt to different particular niches. So like our ears, the skin on it is very, very thin. And there's also quite a lot of blood vessels on it. So if you injure your ear, I remember when I was in high school and wanted to get the top of my ear pierced, by the cartilage. I got it done eventually, and it just never healed. And one day, I just felt blood coming down from my ear, no pain whatsoever, nothing. And it was because one of the blood vessels had just burst. Now, because the skin is so thin, the blood vessels are very close to the skin. Now, for me and my piercing, that was not a very good thing. But for the elephants, that's a grand thing. So if we look behind an elephant's ear, you see a beautiful network of blood vessels right there. I mean, this elephant is pretty far away, but maybe if we move to one of the other cams where there are other elephants, we'll be able to see behind the ear, and I'll make sure that we remember to do that, and you'll see this network of blood vessels. So because the skin is thin there, the blood vessels are close to the skin, very close to the skin. That means that the bits of blood in the vessels that are closest to the skin can get cooled by the movement of air around them. So by flapping their ears, what they're doing is increasing the movement of air behind the ears and therefore cooling the blood in those blood vessels. And then that cooler blood gets to go flow through the body, and then new blood comes into those blood vessels, cools down, goes flow through the body. And so if it's a cold day, and you see this particularly with elephant calves, because they're littler, and though they still have the surface area to volume ratio issue, they're still little, and they lose heat quicker than the bigger, more massive adults. And so for those ones, you'd see them, maybe we'll see some little ones here, actually at Tau, lots of breeding herds here. But the little ones, they'll keep their ears very close to their body. And it still has to do with thermoregulation. They're trying very hard to keep warm. Now, unfortunately, um, now is probably not the best time to be looking for that particular example because it's pretty warm all round everywhere. So the majority of the time we're going to see elephants with their ears nice and open and flapping. A little fight going on the left there. Nothing too serious. Everyone's enjoying themselves. Zygote, you say namaste and hello to me, and namaste to you too, Zygote. Oh, everybody, Cuttlefish45 is here. Did you have to put a reminder? You say hi, everyone. Hi, Cuttlefish. Oh, Zygote, you're late. You say you got stuck in a traffic jam and an auto rickshaw driver was trying to take shortcuts. Oh, yep, there's nothing like erratic drivers on the road. Luckily, we don't get too many rickshaws on the road here in South Africa. I can only imagine what it's like when you have all sorts of different vehicles on the road. Ake, you say hello from Holland. Hello, thank you for joining us. Damon Michael, you say beautiful setting. Absolutely. Every portion of the bush is looking glorious at the moment. We are pretty much in the height of summer. So our summer months, obviously December, January, February. Once March rolls round, you're going to get slightly cooler temperatures. It's not going to make a huge difference, honestly. Oh, nice. We are now across to Naledi. I think it's going to be a very elephant day today, which I love. Goodness me, I could spend all the time in the world with elephants. They especially enjoy drinking out of this well, and here particularly at Naledi, we have had some really interesting sightings. So even if there isn't too much going on, like here obviously there's there's elephants drinking, that's a lot going on. Even if there isn't, it's always a good camera to come and have a look at. Water monitors, birds, crazy things can happen here. But it looks like it's suffering the same fate as Old Donyo, so let's head back to Tao. Here we go, and we've still got those elephants. Jive Bunny, you say an earlier day keeps the doctor away. That's what you say. I'm going to adopt that too, Jive Bunny. I believe that to be an absolute truth. Timber Grace, you say good morning from Minneapolis. So many lovely hellos. I said it's going to be an elephant day, so let's get stuck into them. Now, I've been feeling very, let's say, out of touch with the bush. I haven't been, the last time I was in the bush was in November. So I'm starting to feel a little bit of, what do you call it, withdrawal. And the thing that constantly comes to mind is spending time with elephants. Something that I really miss doing. I miss watching them use their trunk and learn to use their trunk when they're very little. And I find that they're so dexterous. And for the benefit of those viewers who may not know much about elephants, elephant trunks, or maybe this is the first time that you're joining us for the Africam show, whatever it is, I feel like talking about elephant trunks. Just because I see them wiggling about right now, and we got to talk about the ears, let's talk about the trunks now. So trunk is anatomically the same as your upper lip and your nose, if they were to be fused, that is. So you might have seen in cartoons and stuff like that that elephants suck things up through their trunks. Now, they can't actually suck things up and it lead anywhere from their trunk. It would be the same as you breathing in water through your nose. Yeah, it's not going to result in anything pretty. But what they do is they suck water up and store it in their trunk and then pour it into their mouths. And the trunk is essentially like an extra limb. At the end, it's got two finger-like protrusions that are incredibly dexterous. They can manipulate very small things, be very, very gentle. The African elephants have two of those protrusions. Asian elephants have one of those. And they can pick up individual things. I've seen them pick up tiny little marulas. So marula fruit, when marula fruit fall, they aren't necessarily ripe. You see the elephants and they can pick up just one. And for such a massive, massive animal, you know, cows are about 3 tons, bulls about 6 tons. I mean, I think the heaviest recorded elephant bull was something like 10 tons. So an insane amount. But they can actually be so gentle, have so much control. And that's something I think that, for me, when I think about the personality of an elephant, that's one of the things that really comes to mind, is this feeling of purpose and control, measured. Even when they move towards something, even if they are curious about something, it's as if they're a cat. You know, they're so limber. And even when you see them walking up a mountain, and I've managed to see that a few times, elephants can be so careful, so soft, so measured in their movements. They're incredibly self-aware physically of their body, of what they're touching, of how close they are to other things. And though most animals in the bush are not going to come crashing into your vehicle because, you know, they have no self-awareness, elephants seem to just have a little bit more. It's just something about them. Anyway, oh my goodness! Back at Olifants River, and the elephants are being just too adorable. And I was just about to talk about the trunk and water. Now, an average elephant trunk, or the average trunk of an adult, I should say, can hold to about 8 to 10 liters of water. And though that is a useful thing to do with one's trunk, you know, use it to store some of the water and then squirt it into your own mouth, they also like to blow the water with their trunk, which I think is very cool. Just kind of put the tip of their trunk in the water and then blow. And the tip of the trunk, they also use it like a, I suppose they do use it very much like an arm, and the end being a hand, to wave water, you know, clear it of algae. There we go, blowing on the left. Then on the right there, this one's being very, very lazy. Sufficiently close to the water. Oh, experiencing a little difficulty here, but I'm sure we'll be back in no time. The one on the right there. Okay, we are back now at Tembe. We haven't come to Tembe yet, but we're at Tembe now, having a look at the zebra. I just got cut off there. Hopefully we'll be able to go back to Olifants River, because that was so cool to see that big elephant on his side, so lazily stretching his trunk just to reach the water's edge and then spraying himself. I think the mud at the edge of that of the river there must have been so lovely and cooling. You are also wonderful too, zebra. Yes, you are. But when it comes to self-awareness knowing what you're touching and your bodily controls, like I was saying with the elephant, zebras are not very good at it. They often, yeah, trip over things, stuff like that. Oh, there we go. Back at Olifants River now. Cuttlefish 45, you say, nope, you didn't have to set a reminder today. You just happened to remember it's Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yeah, TNT. Good way to remember. April R, you say you love seeing the elephants looking so healthy and happy. It is. This is such a wonderful thing. I've been to reserves where there are elephants that aren't very happy. So I mean, I'm very lucky that the majority of the places I've worked at, the elephants have been very good. Very, very good. Very trusting of everyone else, and that is a result of people being good guides. But there are some places where the elephants have not managed to create that, or we have not managed to create that kind of relationship and that kind of safety for the elephants in their minds. And it's not just our behavior, it's things like resources as well. There's some reserves I've been to where I know that they're exceeding the carrying capacity of that area. But what that means is that there's too many elephants for a particular amount of land, i.e. resource. So when it comes to the dry season, elephants are grumpy. They're grumpy because there isn't enough vegetation to sustain that amount of elephants in a reserve. They don't have as much space as they'd like. I mean, if you had to go into a reserve like that that is exceeding their carrying capacity for elephants, you probably wouldn't notice it. You can't. It's not something you see in an instant. It's something that you see over time, and obviously there's calculations done for that kind of thing. But you can see it in the behavior. And those elephants, they don't look unhappy. They just don't look as relaxed as this. I mean, this is absolutely beautiful. Becky WV, you say, hello from West Virginia, USA. You absolutely love the elephants. Very, very, very much. Loving them. Jive Bunny, you ask if I use Marula fruits in my cooking, and that I'm famous among the guides for my cooking skills. Jive Bunny, I love to cook. I really, really, really do love to cook. It's my happy place. One of my happy places, I should say. But no, I haven't used marulas in my cooking. Unfortunately, whenever marulas make it back to the city where I live, it's just not the same as picking it off the ground and eating it in the bush, you know? And a fresh marula fruit is just something else. I haven't included it in my cooking just yet. But thank you, Jive Bunny, because I was meant to talk to you about marulas while we're watching this, what may appear to be an intense fight, but it's absolutely not. They're just having a ball. They're play fighting. I think that they really like the sound as well, because they sort of make unnecessary movements that make me think that they enjoy the sound of the moving water. And I also like that when you see elephants, now usually when we see this, it's elephant bulls. I can guarantee these are elephant bulls, and I haven't looked underneath them or between their back legs. But elephant bulls tend to have nice thick tusks. And when you see them playing in the water, those tusks get cleaned and suddenly it looks so white. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So Jive Bunny, thank you for bringing me back to the marulas. I was explaining to you that marula fruit, when they drop from the tree, they are not ripe, or they're like semi-ripe. And then an adaptation by the plant to reduce the amount of, I suppose, death that occurs as a result of being pushed over. I'm not sure which one of our cams will actually have a view of Marulas, because it'll be in Marula season pretty much. Well, I mean, it's a wide kind of range, but pretty much end of summer, mid to end of summer, to even about March, April, you're going to see lots of the Marula fruit. Hopefully we'll be able to see them. But what tends to happen is that elephants kind of get into a frenzy. And if you look at an elephant's, a pile of dung from an elephant during that time, it literally looks like, I'm not even sure how to describe it, like a blueberry muffin. It's just like marulas popping out of it everywhere. Countless marulas in their dung piles. So elephants get into a little bit of a frenzy for marulas, and you can imagine why. It's a fruit, so it's sweet, it's tasty, it's nutritious, and I think it's a welcome break from eating a whole lot of fiber, grass, and leaves. Just taking a moment to enjoy the sounds here. So sometimes when you hear this knocking every now and then, I know you can hear the sound of the movement of the water, but that knocking that you're hearing every now and then, that's the sound of their tusks clashing. Did you hear that as well? A deep rumble. Also then. Oh, this is lovely. Jive Bunny, you say Olifants is such a wonderful stretch of water. It really, really is. And it's lovely seeing giraffes crossing there as well. Yeah, get to see giraffes crossing, elephants crossing. It's very, very special. Now, very quickly, so I can just finish up what I was telling you about marulas. The marula tree gets pushed over by elephants very often because elephants are trying to get to the fruits that haven't fallen and they're in this frenzy. So as a way to prevent this or reduce this, marulas have adapted to dropping their fruit before they have ripened. And so then they ripen off the tree on the ground. That means that elephants don't really have to push them over to get to them. They can just forage on the ground. But a lot of the time, that's not enough. Oh, here come the baboons. Just heard one, and they're just in the background there as well. And it's all chilled out for now. They'll take a little break and then they'll start up again. Maybe one will decide to move off. Oh, there we go. His buddy doesn't look like he wants to leave though. Dana, you say such majestic creatures. Absolutely. Literally, give me lions, give me a leopard. And if you had asked me, which one could you spend the whole day with? I will spend the whole day with elephants. Mindy Tillipal, you say, now this is just the picture of pure joy. It really is. Of playfulness and fun and relief. Oh, look at him. It makes you want to be an elephant. Makes me want to be an elephant, at least. Samantha Durfee, you say, from snowy Massachusetts, USA, you say you love the elephants. They're so fascinating to watch, and they have a great job. It is a fantastic job. I love what I do. I love that I'm able to do what I do. From being able to learn about them, watch them through the cameras, to creating things around them, their stories, the stories of the people who take care of them, being able to share all this wildlife, share the experience, and also share my knowledge of them with all of you so we can all learn about them. And I learn best when I get to do things like this, when you all get to ask me questions, because sometimes you ask me things I haven't thought about before, and it's very, very helpful to me. Sometimes it just triggers different thoughts, and it's wonderful. I think I wouldn't be able to be good at what I do without the help of all of you as well. But there's nothing like being there in person, spending time with them. So there's Baboon's alarm calling in the background. I've been hearing it for a while. But one thing I've learned about areas that have lots of baboons is that, as usual, a baboon's alarm call is very reliable. But at the same time, they like to have arguments, especially in areas where they live together. And it could be time, now it's 4:33 in the afternoon. It could be the time that they're thinking about roosting sites. They become a little bit more vocal. But maybe keep an eye out at this camera. Could potentially be a predator around. The other thing when you're looking or you're listening to alarm calls from animals is to also look at the behavior of other animals. So if we're looking at these elephants right now, they're not reacting to anything. Nothing at all. It's very likely that if there is a threat that the baboons are calling at, that the elephants can't see it. That's very likely. Remember that baboons can get right up high onto trees. They have excellent vision, so they can see well and from a vantage point. So the elephants are unlikely to see the potential threat that the baboons could be seeing. But elephants are also very sensitive. They're sensitive to smell. They're sensitive to panic. They can panic, elephants. They really can, considering that they're the largest land mammal, and they're literally, unless there's a specialized group of predators, nothing's going to take it down. Nothing's going to take down an elephant, an adult elephant, but they can still panic. And as you can see, definitely no panic going on here. These two are carrying on like they're not being watched, which is fine by us. April Owl, you say, laughing out loud at the majesty, but silly elephant. I know, but that's what I love about them. There's different parts of them, and I think in a lot of ways maybe they reflect our own existence. You could be some kind of shrewd businesswoman, but at the same time you might be a mother, or you might be really sensitive about something else, or be very silly when it comes to playing in the pool. Whatever it is, we are almost never just one thing. We are so many different things, and elephants are like that too. If this is not cute and silly and just joy, I don't know what is. But trust me, if I had to go walking there, this elephant would turn into the tank that I know that he is. And he would be able to color my pants very quickly. Oh my goodness, Bridget McKinney, she's made it! You say hello, Trishala, and better late than never. Absolutely. Thank you for hopping on. You've come at the right time. We're enjoying the elephants and enjoying all different parts of them. Now this one it just lifted up. Oh my goodness, how tough life is. Did you see that sigh? It just lifted up a tiny little branch that was close to. You can see how it's moving its trunk up and down, kind of like twiddling our thumbs. And you see the end of trunk movement quite a lot when it feels. I say it feels because I don't know how else to describe it. But when I'm with elephants and I feel like they are thinking, maybe they're curious, they're trying to make a decision, trying to figure something out, then you see that the movement of the tip of the trunk quite a lot. Some people say that it's an aggressive kind of sign, not aggressive, but a posturing of some sort, a display, but I have never found that. I've always found that when they're moving the tip of their trunk, it's sort of like, yeah, twiddling our thumbs while we think. Sometimes it's almost just like a playful thing. Sometimes they swing it, sometimes they swirl it, like a helicopter. Other times they just flick it. Oh, looks as if they wanted to have a little fight again. Jive Bunny say that elephant is hilarious. It was hilarious. It was just so cute. So cute. Zygote, you say it was waving its ear like a flag. Yeah, it did very much look like that. Ooh, a bee just flew past the camera. Oh, that might have been one of the most wonderful live elephant sightings we've had during the Africam show. I mean, when you think about it, the cameras run 24/7 every day, and our time together is just 45 minutes once a week. So what we get in that 45 minutes is not really representative, I suppose, of what we get on the cams every day or every other day. It's just a small slice. And we always see such incredible behavior, interactions on the cameras. And I always hope that during our 45 minutes together for the Africam show, we'll get to experience that kind of thing. And I think today with these elephants, that was one such sighting. Feels like they had a little picnic at the waterhole. Snack, pool party, play fight, relax, snack, and then go on their merry way. Oh, I really miss it. Need to get back to the bush very, very quickly. It's just the sounds. I can just looking at the scene right now and hearing the sounds of the insects. I I can smell this, what it is there now. Hopefully very soon. Whew. Elephants took up most of our time together, which is absolutely fine by me. But how about we see what's going on one of the other cameras? Maybe we can head over to Tembe. There we go. Across to Tembe we go. And we have a lot of Impala. A bit breezy. Now Tembe is in KwaZulu-Natal, which is in my home province. A landscape that is very familiar. So all the herds have kind of calmed down, I suppose. Everything is going to start up very quickly again. But after the rut, the craziness of most of the Impala ewes were pregnant. They would have dropped their lambs November-ish. So there's all these little babies around at the moment, tiny little lambs. And then I said to you way at the beginning that our summer period is this December, January, February, March. It starts to cool down just a little bit. But what happens, no matter what the temperatures are doing, is that day lengths start to get shorter. And that's just an astronomical observation. That's just something that happens because we are our planet and the movements of our planet and the sun. So days start to get shorter, and the shortening of the days trigger a hormonal response in the rams. I find this so interesting because there's so much of how we do what we do in our bodies is related to the amount of sunlight that we get. We are so hypersensitive, not just us, I mean, but animals in general. If you think about animals evolving, they need to evolve along some kind of structure. Like imagine you have a plant that's a creeper. It needs to be able to bend and twist around something, whatever shape it creates, but it needs to have something that it can use to create the shape. Something that is unchanging. And a few of those things, a few elements, air, water, sunlight, and the amount of darkness. Temperature as well, but temperature fluctuates. But those things, those abiotic factors, factors that are not related to living things, but are actually very influential to our biological mechanisms, those things, they very much tickle my fancy. Anyway, once the day lengths start to get shorter, just a little bit shorter, and melatonin maybe is produced quicker than it is when the days are longer, all those mechanisms, things start to get triggered in the Impala. And once those day lengths get significantly shorter, sometime between April or March and May, that's when they start to get territorial, and then the rut kicks off yet again once May rolls round. So lots to be excited about in the bush at this time of the year. Lots going on. Valerie Explore, you say you must head out, but thanks for sharing our knowledge of elephants, and you hope to get back to see them soon. Well, so do I. And while you're heading out, Valerie, explore, so must we. That's our 45 minutes together. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for always watching. It's a pleasure to spend this time with you and all of the animals. And I will see you on Thursday. Bye for now, everyone.